Hello and welcome everybody to today's research session. I am Camila, a community manager at Verbi Max QDA, and I moderate this series of research sessions once a month. And our speaker today is Pinelopi Tsirintani, who is calling from Greece today. Not only is Pinelopi an adult educator, an academic research and writing consultant, and a postgraduate student at Frederick University, she is also one of our MaxQDA professional trainers. We are very glad and proud to have her in our community and as our speaker today, of course. She will talk about the limitations of qualitative research designs in adult education, showing how MaxQDA functions supported her work. I am personally very excited to hear the talk and learn from Pinelopi. And the talk will last around 40 minutes, after which there will be time for a Q&A session and discussion. Please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A bar you see below. And yeah, I think that's everything. Pinelopi, the virtual stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Camila, for the welcoming. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the research session. Thank you for joining. I'm really glad that we are all here today. It's really exciting to be together across countries and time zones. And what brings us together today for the next 45 to 50 minutes is our shared love for research, I think. And even more than that, our desire to discover how we can make it better with MaxQDA. If you have any questions at the end of the presentation, feel free to share your thoughts. And let's enjoy the journey because, after all, research is a journey. Today, I'm going to present some preliminary findings of my dissertation. And I will tell you how MaxQDA supported my research. Here in this slide, you can see a quick overview of my presentation structure. I will start by explaining the aim of my research, the research questions, and why this study is important. And after that, I will move on methodology section, and then I will demonstrate how I used MaxQDA to organize, analyze, and report my findings. So my research project explored the prospects and limitations of qualitative research designs in adult education, and I conducted a quantitative content analysis. Just to tell you a little bit about adult learning, is the process by which adults aged 25 or older acquire new knowledge, skills, and attitudes, often driven by personal or professional goals. And some examples include university programs, distance learning programs for adults, workplace training, certification programs, or even community learning. And an example is the MaxQDA research sessions where participants learn within a community. My research questions concern the methodological limitations that are most frequently identified in the qualitative research designs, and specifically concerning validity and reliability, and the theoretical contribution of qualitative research designs used in adult education. A review of the relevant literature reveals a research gap despite the significant theoretical contributions of qualitative research to the scientific development of adult education and to the emergence of key theories. There is a lack of recent studies employing quantitative content analysis to investigate these theoretical contributions and methodological limitations. So, as concerning my methodology, to achieve the research objective, I used quantitative content analysis, as I told at the beginning of the presentation. I analyzed the 87 qualitative peer-reviewed articles published in the Journal of Adult Educational Quarterly between 2010 and 2024. And I categorize theoretical contributions thematically, for example, theory development and theory building. And in the same manner, I categorize methodological limitations thematically. For example, I create categories for method triangulation, reflexivity and positionality, intercoder reliability, member checking, and other things that we will see in the next slides. The process began with the development of criteria and categories. This is a deductive coding method, and I used some well-known books and sources like Bryman, Creswell, and Flick, and other. MaxQDA enhances the validity and reliability of the findings by enabling systematic coding and memoing grounded in the data. It facilitates rapid and precise data retrieval, thereby supported more rigorous analysis. And it has reports such as code reports or memos report. As we continue the presentation, I will show the relevant screenshots. These reports play a crucial role in documenting the decision-making process and ensuring transparency in the research. And some leading theorists who propose MaxQDA for qualitative data analysis include Flick and Creswell in their books. So, how MaxQDA helped me in the phase of data organization and processing. As you know, the goal of this phase is to make the qualitative data manageable and ready for analysis. In this slide, you can see the MaxQDA working environment. Upon importing the PDF articles into MaxQDA, it was necessary to organize them according to the type of qualitative research design employed in its study. To do this, I created document groups for different research designs, such as case study, ethnography, action research, phenomenological studies, biographical, narrative research, grounded theory, exploratory, and interpretative studies. This organization allowed me to quickly identify the methodological approaches of each study and facilitated me to make a more structured analysis. One of the central functions of MaxQDA is the process of coding data. So I developed 5 main categories, as you can see. The sample and summing method, the data collection methods, data analysis, categories concerning validity and reliability, and categories for theoretical contribution. In MaxQDA, codes can be organized in a hierarchical structure, as you can see in this slide. And this means that each code can have several subcodes, and also the subcodes can have other subcodes. So you can make a complex coding system. This structure helped me to develop a category scheme consisting of 5 main categories, as I told you, and relevant subcategories. Here is a screenshot, an example of all of my categories, with the parent code validity and reliability, let's say the central category, and the relevant subcodes and sub-categories. I also used code memos. Code memos are very, very useful function in qualitative analysis. Code memos help me to define each category of my coding system. and actually are nodes attached to a specific code used to define the code of the category or to store coding guidelines. I use it just to define the categories. And in this slide, you can see an example, a code memo of the category typology. I gave a definition of this category. In MaxQDA, of course, you can create codes not only in the level, memos. Memos not only in the level of codes, but you can also create in-document memos and document memos. So I use these functions, and I also use the label function. This means that I assign to the different type of codes a label. Labels actually refer to symbols that help the researcher to organize thematically the memos. So I use different labels for my memos. Here you can see an example of an in-document memo where I comment on the sample and the sample strategy. So for all of my reflections on sampling and sampling methods across the articles, I used this yellow icon, this label. Of course, I use document memos to keep summary of the articles, and this type of memos attached to the document system. You can see it on your left. Also, I use free memos. This is a very useful function for me because it helped me to record general notes on the research project, such as the deadlines, the research questions, or whatever, even creative ideas. From the main menu of MaxQDA, you can see all the memos, the document memos, in-document memos, and code memos. I also use the document variables, and I created the variables based on publication date, research design, sample, sample size and country. And I export all these variables in an Excel report, and I am going to use it either to my appendix of my dissertation, either to the research methodology section to describe the articles, the year, the research design, the sample size, and all the relevant information. This is a very useful function in MaxQDA. And if someone makes a qualitative analysis, he can also, if he or she uses this function, he can also make specific type of analysis based, let's say, on demographics, based on age. For example, what participant says according to their age or according to their gender. But I use document variable just for document some main elements of my research articles. Now, this is a hot subject, the AI in qualitative research and quantitative research, and how AI helped me to get a quick overview of the papers. In general, MaxQDA uses an AI assist tool, as you can see in this picture, and it provides functions like summarizing text, generated codes and subcodes, suggestions for codes and subcodes, explaining concept, paraphrasing, and chat with the documents. Chat with the documents is my favorite function, and actually is the only function that works best in Greek language. So I used this function. Initially to take a quick overview of each paper. For example, I ask about what is the aim, what is the research question, what is the main findings, the conclusions. I ask several questions to AI. And of course, I verify the answers by clicking on the relevant pages suggested by the AI. Here you can't see it, but in the MaxQDA environment, in the right, on your right, you can see the AI, and on your left, you can see the document, and so you can go and check the pages. And I have tested a lot of times the chat with the document AI, and it never does any mistake. But always you should check the page number and don't trust it with blind eyes. You always must check the page numbers and cross-validate. So how MaxQDA helped me to communicate my data and making the coding process more quickly. I use also AI to help me with the coding process. For example, I asked AI for the research method, or I'm sorry, I asked what if. Excuse me. Just a little blackout. Okay, I asked whether the researchers used method triangulation. This was important for my study because in my code system I had a specific code called method triangulation. Here I asked the question about the sample size. It is also important for me because I needed it to fill my document variables. And this is a very good function. How MaxQDA supported me in the early stages of my research when I wanted to review the coded segments. So I double click on a code. You can see it on the left of the side. I use the picture to help you. Let's say I double click on thematic analysis and a window open displayed all the coded segments. And from this window, I could also delete coded segments or move a segment to a different code and also review the coded segment. This was very, very useful to check the coding process. And this is a credible function. How MaxQDA helped me in the early stages of my research when I realized that it would be useful to record how many studies actually use a qualitative data analysis software. So I use the autocode function and I search for names of the most well-known qualitative analysis software, such as MaxQDA or Atlas, to identify which articles mention this term. And then I could code the terms automatically. And this is a perfect function. Now, I think this is the best part, how MaxQDA helped me in data analysis, visualization, and descriptive statistics. For all of this, I use the QTT, let's say, workplace, which is an area, a better word for this, it's an area in MaxQDA for organizing and synthesizing insights. It provides a bridge between my MaxQDA project and my research reports, and this helped me to compile my writing and visuals through integrations of insights. Here you can see the environment, and so how I worked with QTT. Based on my research questions, I created 2 worksheets. And for each research question, I add elements to the relevant tabs. I actually use codes, memos, and visualizations, these tabs. And firstly, I work with the worksheet with the name theoretical contributions to answer my first research question about theoretical contributions. And within this worksheet, I work with the tab related code and themes. By using memos of the relating categories, I explain the categories of my coding system. As you can see in the slide, if you sit down, there is an area where you can write your insights. In this slide, you can see how I explain the category theoretical contribution with the help of QTT area. So theoretical contribution means how a research contributes towards the advancement of existing knowledge, and theory building and theory development are two main dimensions of theoretical contribution. Theory building involves generating analytic insights through detailed examination of data, leading to new concepts and connections among phenomena. And in addition, the creation of typologies represents a unique form of theory building. Theory development involves theory extension, where existing constructs or concepts are applied to new contexts, incorporating new evidence to enhance theory's explanatory power. In addition, theory developments refer to theoretical refinement, where a modification of existing theoretical perspectives is conducted. Finally, applying and extending existing concepts in a new area of research also helps to develop a theory. So after explaining my categories, I worked with the visuals and statistics tab. I like very much these tabs. This tab, here you can see the table showing the frequency of codes in the category theory building, including theory development, development of new concepts and typologies. And here you can see the relevant graph. In this slide, you can see the table showing the frequency of codes in the category theory development, including explanation, extension, improvement of existing theories, application theories in new contexts. And here you can see the relevant graph. But before I worked with visual and statistic, I think it's useful to say that I used the code frequencies function to create my tables and graphs, and then to send them to the relevant worksheet. With this icon, as you can see in this slide, I send data, the tables and the graphs in the worksheet. Then I work with the memos in the worksheet. Memos help me to synthesize my findings concerning theoretical contributions. Each time I categorizing the research findings of an article according to their theoretical contribution, I generated a memo, provided a detailed explanation of the specific scope of that contribution. But it's important to say that before working with the memos, I went to the memos menu and organized the document memos based on the icons. And then with the icon that you can see on your right in the slide, I sent them to the relevant worksheet. And here you can see the best area in QTT. This is called integration of insights, an area for synthesizing findings from across a worksheet to draw overall conclusions. And the best of all, when I finished, I export the worksheet in a Word format. And here you can see the word format. It's everything organized. Of course, you can edit the word format if you want. But whatever you are doing in the worksheet, then you can see it in the word format. And now let's move on to the key research findings on the theoretical contribution and specifically on theory building through new concepts in adult education. So what I found that 6 out of 87 articles contributed to theory building through the emergence of new concepts. And all the concepts were very interesting and very important for the adult education, such as the concept of self-investment, another study which expanded to the concept of reflection to include bodily awareness. This was very interesting, showing how bodily sensations influence the creative writing process. Other interesting concepts which developed were learning through communities, learning by objects and processes, learning through assemblage. I like very much Moore's research, who emphasized the need for an enlarged concept of learning, recognizing that changing how we see the world can involve deep personal changes and sometimes negative effects. And I will also refer and Greek study and then move on. It's about Nikolaidis, who introduced the generic learning within ambiguity model, who explored learning under uncertainty. So let's move on theory building through typologies in adult education. These findings were exciting for me because I found 4 typologies out of 87 articles that I examined. There are not a lot, but they're very interesting typologies because they explain many, how can I say it? Many important things in adult education. For example, one typology developed for explaining the types of learning experienced by adults through interreligious dialogue in interreligious contexts. Another typology developed, and it was a five-phase typology for transformative learning. Another, it was for enhancing employees' professional competence. And another one, typology developed regarding the processes that facilitate transformative learning in community health programs. This is why in the beginning I try to explain the adult learning field because it embraces many areas of the adult life. So let's go to theory development through extending, developing, or refining existing theories. 72 out of 87 articles contributed to extension, development, or refinement of existing theories. Some of the most significant contributions came from the articles that explored transformative learning theory, Freire's critical pedagogy, and Kolb's experiential learning theory. And all these are key theories in the field of adult learning. Let's see the results very quickly. One study, this was very interesting, extending transformative learning theory by applying it to prior learning assessment. Another study extending the transformative learning theory to a new context to highly vulnerable groups like refugees. Another offer empirical grounding for transformative learning within the context of feminist organizations. We also have the extension of transformative learning theory in intercultural contexts and in the course design, the facilitation of course designs, and other important theories that were extending, developed or refined were social support theory, feminist theories, Bourdieu and Bernstein's theories. Adult education is a field that take theories, let's say borrow theories from many fields like psychology, sociology, business studies, and others. It was very interesting. Colin Serocco study which extends Kolb's experiential learning model with a critical interpretative approach and propose a framework for learning in non-formal settings. And now let's move on theory development. Through application of existing theories or concepts in a new context and development of theoretical models, I identified 5 out of 87 studies contributed theoretically with this manner. I'm sorry. Let's see it quickly. One study main theoretical contribution lies in the development of a theoretical approach that acknowledges the interplay between learning and action in activist contexts. Another provides a detailed model of career transition. A Greek study developed a grounded theory model showing how participation in lifelong learning programs relate to perceived employability and other factors. An older study, Cooper, 2011, developed a new theoretical perspective connecting social class, habitus, and educational outcomes. And the last one, expanded the concept of self-directed learning, which is a very important concept in the adult education, to the context of self-help book reading. So I follow the same procedure to answer the second research question, which was about the limitation. And what I found, it is that from the total of studies, of 87 studies, 51 employed methodological triangulation, 48 included positionality and reflexivity statement, 29 used member checking, and 4 referred to theoretical saturation. And in addition, I found that only 21 involved coding by 2 researchers. 13 employed a qualitative analysis software, used a qualitative analysis software, and only 3 reported an intercoder reliability index. And this is logical because it's difficult to report an intercoder reliability index if you don't use a software. And just to let you know, MaxQDA has a function for intercoder reliability. I hope in the future research to use it. So let's move on the conclusions. In terms of theory building, we have a very interesting findings, emerging concepts that expand our understandings of how adults learn, engage, and transform through personal, social, or contextual experiences. We have the development of typologies. Typologies for community health programs, for interreligious contexts, for workplace environments. Regarding theory development, we have the development slash extension of Kolb's, Freire's, and measure of transformative learning theory. As for limitations, the conclusions for limitations, what I contemplated, and in-document memos, MaxQDA in-document memos helped me a lot. I found that the majority of the studies, most of the studies used methods triangulations. This means multiple data collection methods, but rarely document how triangulation is conducting, and leaving unclear how data are cross-validated and synthesized to ensure validity. In terms of positionality reflexivity, the studies are limited to formal references without being used to illustrate how the researcher's personal involvement, bias, or values may have influenced the interpretation of the data. As I said, almost half of the studies used member taking, but I think that most studies should use member taking because it's important for enhancing credibility by allowing participants to validate interpretations and ensure that findings accurately reflect their experience. So only half of the studies have member taking, and only 4 reported theoretical saturation, which is also important in qualitative research. It is also important to use multiple researches for coding, but this is not always possible. But anyway, it is an important aspect of qualitative research, that as it increases data trustworthiness and provide richer interpretations. I would like to tell that and the qualitative analysis software plays a crucial role in documenting the decision-making process and ensuring transparency. However, only 13 studies reported the use of the software, and of course, the importance of intercoder reliability index. As I told you, very few studies reported such an index. How MaxQDA helped me in general, as you can understand so far, it gave me a structured way to code, memo, retrieve data, remember what I read, identify trends, and of course document my decisions. And it also helped me to visualize findings, and QTT helped me to bring the overall project in live. As concerning my limitations, I don't like to discuss about the limitation of my study, but anyway, I will discuss some limitations. The one is the convenient sampling technique and the small sample size. I use only 87 articles, but from one journal. but in the future, I'm going to increase the sample size and maybe I include one more journal in my research, and I'm sure that MaxQDA will help me because I have all my data all my project data in a place, and in the future when I want to enrich my research, I can do it very simply by adding more articles in my project and by doing more analysis. Okay, one more limitation is the lack of second researcher for coding and data interpretation. This would be very helpful, but never, in the future, maybe another coder can also participate in my research project. As a closing advice, and then you can ask me whatever you want, is to keep, if you use MaxQDA, is to keep backups in an external disk. Of course, MaxQDA has a function that help the users to back up their projects, and you can find this function in settings and have automatic backups, but it's important to have a backup in an external disk, except for this. So now it's your turn. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and you can share your thoughts, your comments, whatever you want.